Hello, I'm Tadas with Insomniac Next Door. This video is about increasing dosage of heavy metal chelator NBMI, OSR otherwise known. Those of you who have been chelating or have been into this chelation journey, you know exactly what it is. I won't go into the introduction, plus there are some previous videos of mine that you can watch in case you get curious about why I decided to chelate and so on. So basically, what my biggest discovery was that in general, the logic of using a chelator is to go slowly in dosage until you reach a therapeutic dose, which in NBMI's case is usually somewhere around 300 to 500 milligrams. But I was dabbling with just like drops of oil and really just 5-10 milligrams until I got to 30 milligrams. I don't know, it took me like a couple of years, and then suddenly within like 4 months I went from 30 milligrams to 500 milligrams plus. And this video I want to tell you exactly what happened in those 4 months that allowed me to make such a jump. And I want to dispute this theory that you have to increase gradually in order to get the therapeutic doses. Because in my case, a sudden increase in dosage showed that it was not linear. It had nothing to do with gradual increase. It all had to do with my total body burden and dialing in the correct supplements. So when these two are addressed, progress can be asymmetrical. You can really go up really quickly. So let's dive into that. So as you know, there are still big gaps in our understanding of what exactly heavy metals do in a prolonged chronic exposure, and how many layers of health issues they can cause. And especially we're still learning as far as how to actually detox all those heavy metals out of our body. This is an ongoing process. Much of it is learned through various practitioners sharing their experiences and guinea pigs like me, and thousands of others in the forums who are trying this on their own and sharing our experiences. So what we're seeing is that in general, heavy metals, they mess with your entire body systems. I mean, but mainly for the video, I will focus on reactive oxygen species, so-called ROS, and which leads to oxidative stress and damages the body's ability to repair itself. And it can interfere with DNA repair, promoting mutations, possibly causing cancer and all that kind of stuff. In general, it just kills your internal battery. In traditional Chinese medicine, Jing, Qi, everything just really goes down. And because of that, you become susceptible, and you become like a magnet for environmental influences and viruses and everything like that. So especially a so-called dysbacteriosis or dysbiosis in English, which causes a host of issues really. And it's just another layer that is very hard to unravel because it's all interconnected like this, right? And it all adds to our total body burden. So imagine you are already in a high state of inflammation, and you have a overreactive immune system, a so-called cell danger response, where you have to walk like on eggshells. I'm not even going to talk about insomnia here. I mean, how traumatic that becomes, where you try to manage this throughout the day just to get some sleep during the night. Many of you who've been on this channel know exactly what I'm talking about. And imagine you're already in a high state of oxidative stress, inflammation, and now you pick up a chelator and you test it, let's say, right? And you see all of your symptoms explode suddenly. So why does this happen? Well, mercury chelation is known to increase inflammation, which is quite paradoxical, right? You're trying to remove mercury, but instead you're actually raising your inflammation levels. It also, chelation will activate the immune response. It will deplete your minerals potentially. It can cause redistribution depending on what kind of chelator you use. Even potentially NBMI has a potential, I think, to redistribute just a little bit, or at least add to the total body burden, that's for sure. Chelation will increase your burden on the liver, on the kidneys, on your immune system, on your lymph system. The entire body will be loaded even more when you're taking chelators and you're ripping those heavy metals from the cells. So for me, for example, I can immediately feel the extra stress on my liver. My food sensitivities go up, especially things like salicylates, sulfur. What I could manage before without symptoms, now I'm getting symptoms. And it's all because basically your liver is getting jammed with all these additional things that it needs to process and remove and break down and all that stuff. So it just basically creates even more inflammation by being too slow on processing it all out. So this can also cause things like MCAS to increase, and you may develop symptoms that you didn't have before. And this is where people get really scared of these chelators, especially NBMI, that can create an enormous reaction. It's called like a inflammation cascade, I believe is the term, where one thing leads to another and you feel worse, and worse, and you have no idea what's going on, because now you have so many moving parts that you need to put together and figure out why is your body so reactive. So logically speaking, now let's think about this together, right? If heavy metals increase inflammation, if they increase ROS, if they confuse the immune system, and they add to the total body burden, and so does the chelation therapy itself, right? Now, thinking logically, what do we need to do in order for the chelators to have more space inside our body, for our body to be less reactive? And what I discovered was that if I address the body burden from other angles, then there's more space for chelators to work for me, and I can take higher doses and not increase the inflammation to the level that is unmanageable for me. So this is what I did. I decided I'm going to go and reduce my total body burden from other angles. So here's what I did. And I figured out, look, I have a report out, right, about this total body burden. You can download it for free. What adds to the body burden? And I realized, okay, it's parasites. All right, can we do something about parasites? It's this biosis, right? You're talking about SIBO, SIFO, Candida, all these things. I definitely have symptoms of that. So I know it's adding to my total body there. What else in my environment? So what I did is I got rid of all my shampoos, shower gels, shaving supplies, all this, and anything that I felt smelled weird, that I felt like I'm breathing. By the way, I changed, I got an air filter for the house. I got a water distiller just in case stuff is coming through the water, and basically reduce from the external environment what's coming into my body, and in hopes to create more room for the liver to process what needs to be processed. So you can look up online on different ways to detoxify your entire house, your body, and so on. I'm talking about the basic things, right, that we can do. And then, of course, I started with parasite cleanses. And I tested different formulas and different dosage. If you want, I can get into that with a different video, but I found some local herbs and local formulas that worked very well for me. And I started feeling the effects. I'm like, wow. First I noticed that I was being less reactive to foods. Like I could eat dairy and not feel any gurgling or bubbling and inside my stomach. So then I realized, okay, so parasites must have played a role here. I definitely felt a bit lighter overall in digestion and everything. All right, so then what else I can do? And then I did learn about all this liver work that what can do, like castor oil packs, right? I did a video about that previously. How it basically helps the bile flow and work to allow your liver to process toxins better. Liver flushes have been very, very helpful and instrumental. I've done like 15 of them by now, which is incredible, but they take work and they're not for everybody, especially if you're very depleted. Be careful. But just to illustrate my point, I bought a infrared sauna. I went out and spent like, it wasn't too much for an infrared sauna. It was like 1,200. Put it in my bathroom, and I love it. I can't tell you enough how much neurological symptoms it reduces. And I did so much research on how can this be so helpful. I'm like, what's really happening? People are saying, oh, it's detoxing through the skin, and come on, Tadas. And I'm like, no, it can't be that simple. You can't possibly detox so much through the sweat. And then I'm reading research. Some says you don't really detoxify much from sweat. Others saying, well, you have to mobilize the toxins, and then you can do. Anyways, there's a whole system. You can look into it. You can definitely use sauna alone to detoxify. But the biggest thing that I discovered, and now I don't look at everything through toxic alone lens. I'm looking at what's helping my mitochondria, which was basically producing energy. Technically, guys, if we had enough energy, we could power up an entire system and our body would just flush out all the toxins. The problem is our batteries are semi-dead, right? And we're like running on 20, 30% capacity when it comes to our battery. So if our mitochondria is damaged by whatever it be, right? Mostly, in my case, it was mercury. Then I know it's like an old clunker car that's producing a lot of fumes in exhaust, not because itself, it's still running, it's working, but everything, it doesn't have enough really fuel to run smooth. We are a factory. We have to fuel this factory in order to be efficient in eliminating and drainage and so on and so on. So then I realized that I read that infrared sauna addresses these so-called heat shock proteins, which help to revitalize and renew the mitochondria. And then I'm thinking that is much better than any detox that I'll use through sweat, because you're taking your mitochondria factory, energy producing factors, and you're helping them to renew, which is like the best thing we can think of, right? And when you renew it, it flushes out all these toxins from the cell itself, and possibly through the sweat later, or kidneys or liver down the road. So infrared saunas have been very helpful. Qigong, I talk about this all the time. Qigong it's a natural way to accumulate energy. Again, if you Google like Qigong, Qi, energy, mitochondria, you'll see there's enough research what Chinese said, hey, look, this Qi is the same thing as this energy produced in the mitochondria. And we're looking at things and we're like, okay, well, like half of it is produced by food. The other one is influenced by environment. And they're like, they're looking at like, where's the other 30% coming from? And it's all potentially from the energy around us. And Qigong allows to cultivate that energy inside of us, which is like the most mind-blowing thing. And I'll keep talking about this for the rest of my life. You can cultivate your inner energy. You've seen this. And the energy is not only powers up your entire body and detox system, but it's intelligent enough to know exactly where to send, how much, what to do, what to repair, and so on. Whenever I mess up with something, my routine, I increase my Qigong, I bounce back very quickly. And, sometimes when I'm sick and I have like fever, I swear to you guys, I'll have like fever in like 37.5 Celsius, right? That's like, a fever. I do my Qigong, and within that half an hour, I can feel like my fever drop. And I check the thermometer and I'm normal. I'm like 336 and 0.6. And I'm thinking, how is this even possible? I mean, how can it be that you can balance your system so well that your fever drops? And you know me, I'm not BSing you here on this channel. I mean, this is exactly what I share with you, what I experience, So Qigong is very powerful. I mean, and whenever you want definite, work done on your body, you need that energy to push you through the system, to push the fluids around, to digest better, to assimilate better, everything, right? So going back to the less body burn, diet is crucial, because diet can be either a source of healing or inflammation. And this is something where you have to do some research yourself. What foods increase inflammation? What foods lower inflammation for you? So, for example, you can add to your body burden, or you can remove your body burden, right? You can, for example, in the morning you have a choice: coffee, sugary drink, or maybe like a creamer, or you can have like a roasted dandelion coffee, for example, right? And maybe like rice milk or oat milk or whatever. So one will kind of stimulate your system, increase your anxiety, or put stress on your adrenals. The other one will help the liver process toxins better, right? So there's all these little choices. Okay, you have a potato. Do you want like a deep fried potato, or you want boiled and cooled potato that's turned into a resistant starch, right? The one that actually feeds your microbiome. Do you want to take antimicrobials in, you put herbs, or do you want to add a splash of like some inflammatory mayonnaise, right? Ideas of like every time you have a choice, add to the body burn, remove to the body burn. And if you look through that lens, if you constantly look through that lens, all right, okay, this is add, this removes, this adds, this removes. If I remove enough body burn, then I take a chelator, and lo and behold, you're handling a much larger dose of chelator. Why? Because now you have more room, right? So for your liver is more efficient, your mitochondria is stronger, your kidneys are more robust, your lymph system is working better. You're drinking your lymph moving teas and so on. So it's quite powerful, and it's actually quite logical. There's no mystery behind it when you figure all this out, right? So the goal is to reduce overall inflammation and reactivity in the body, and this is how I did it. So basically, I went from 4 months from this like small 30 milligram spoon to 4 of these white spoons, which is, as I learned later, is actually much like 125 milligrams. So I was taking over 500 milligrams, and the difference was 4 months. When before it took me like, oil drops. I had a video of like rubbing my elbows, right, with oil, just a few drops, and it took me like 2 years to get to 30 milligrams. So the progress can be so asymmetrical, meaning it can be exponential if you're reducing your body, not just with chelation, just chipping away mercury, which also works, because mercury reduces your body burden, but that's a much longer way to go. If you do it all together, parasites, candida, rebalance your microbiome and so on. And the key thing is no harsh cleanses or detoxes, anything that completely makes your immune system go haywire. So you introduce things slowly, quietly, quietly, I mean, small doses, and you watch your reaction. So it's a long game, it's a long road, and it has to be done sustainably in order to reduce huge reactions and these shocks to the system, right? So feel free to leave me any questions in the comments below. As far as the chelation, whatever else goes, or whatever else you would like me to share, I'll put a link to the free report about total body burden and the things that go into it. And there's way more than this. There's electromagnetic fields as well. There's many things that can be affecting your body. So check out anything you can do to reduce it, and I'm sure with time you can definitely increase your dose, just like me, exponentially. And right now I'm working on rebalancing my microbiome, doing a candida protocol. And the thing is, it's not a kill candida protocol. It's more like a modulation of microbiome, which makes way more sense. There's nothing we need to kill, nothing we need to destroy. What we need to do is change our inner environment, slowly modulate it ourselves, like the Rubik's Cube, right? You allow for the good microbiome to slowly take over the bad microbiome, push out the candida, break apart the biofilms. And even if you have Lyme, even if you have any other stealth infections, all of that gets corrected when your microbiome gets corrected. And all of this can be done slowly, methodically, and I will share all that with you in the future. So take care for now. Hope you sleep better soon once you chelate it all out and reduce your body burden. I know you will. So take care for now. Bye.